Good morning, everyone. Melissa here with Build a Better Bakery. If we've never met before, I'm excited to see you here in this video. We're going to be talking about bulk baking today, which is a great way to expand your business, especially if you're going to get into something like weddings or markets, things like that. You might need to be baking much larger amounts of product. So I want to cover some 3 important tips today to help you with bulk baking. Just make sure that we're live. It hasn't always been coming up, so I'm pretty sure we're good. Hopefully this will load soon so that I can see if you are here with me live and you're asking any questions or commenting. I can see it. If we've never met before, I am the owner and the main mentor at Build a Better Bakery, which is the larger business that owns this group that you're in Facebook right now. I also share these to YouTube, so if you're viewing on YouTube, hello, please hit subscribe so you can see our next videos. We usually post one about one a week or so when we go live here in the group. So definitely comment there too as well. I can see that information. Now for May in 2024, which is when this is being recorded, our monthly topic is expanding your business for beginners. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking down these topics to be a little more simplified so more people can get engaged, even those who are just starting out. And for myself, I have been in the baking business for close to 20 years now, both in commercial settings and home settings. I have lots of experience and lots of information to share. What I like to do is help bakers learn how to more control their businesses. So learn more about their businesses, learn how to be a better business owner, that kind of stuff, on top of holding some joy. So we do talk about some of the emotions behind being a business owner and holding on to what you love so that you can continue to serve your community year after year instead of burning out in about a year or two because it's just too much. So I want to be there to help you create an actual career out of this just like I have, and also a sustainable income, which I think is important. So go ahead and throw up the hashtag live. If you're here live, throw up our hashtag replay. If you're on the replay, it's still not showing this live, which is very weird. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this. I can redo it if for some reason you can't. Okay, so to stay in the know about these lives, you can check the events in the group. You can send Melissa Fryer, that's me, a friend request to get an invite for new events that are made. That's the only way we can do it in the group because the group is too large. We are, try closing other applications. Okay. Just a little background. Okay, good. Perfect. It says I was having connectivity issues, but I don't think we are. Okay. Hey, Melanie, good to see you. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Okay, so we are, so to get those invites to the session, you can, the new sessions that are made here in the group, you're going to send a friend request. That's the only way I can send them out. I have a public page, so, you know, you can see everything that's going on in there. And the group is just too big to get them out to everyone now, unfortunately. I don't know why Facebook does that, but that's how they do it. So you can do that. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. Anyone can subscribe. It's free. And what that is, it's just a great place to keep all the replays of our sessions on demand. So it's kind of like just a cool little library of videos. That's there for you too. I do like to go live every Thursday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time when I am home and available, which is most weeks. And it does go live here in the group, and then it gets shared to YouTube almost immediately for the most part. And then if you want to be on our email list, that's where I also send out replay links, resources, invites to workshops, letting you know what's going on that week, all that kind of stuff. That's also free to join. You can unsubscribe at any time, so that's a great place to also get everything right into your inbox where you don't have to keep looking on social media or YouTube to find certain things. And it's really, all of this is just new content. I try to get you something new every week to support your journey. All right, we're going to hop right in. We're going to have kind of a short session today, and we're going to hop right in with our first tip on bulk baking. This is to create a continuous work routine that can be replicated each time for each product. So if you're new to baking, you might not have thought about this yet. A quick mind exercise would be, let's say, think about the normal sheet of brownies that you make. Let's say it's a 9 by 13 pan. Now, let's imagine that someone just ordered 100 of those from you. Like, whoa, right? If you're new to baking, 1 or 2 things is pretty common. But when you start bulk baking, you're making a ton of stuff. So to create a continuous routine would be to look at that product, look at how you make it, look how long it takes in the oven, how long to cool, packaging, all of that, and create a continuous work routine around that so you can continue to create product while also working on little bits here and there so that your workday can become shorter rather than having to do everything you would do for that one 9 by 13 pan from start to finish. You're going to start incorporating different steps so that you can continue baking and saving some time as you're doing it. It's a great way to assist with time management. I know that's a huge issue for bakers in general. Baking just takes a lot of time, honestly. It's a labor-intensive profession. But overall, a workflow that's created with how you work and your space, keeping that in mind, can really help out. Now, as I kind of mentioned with the example from the 9 by 13 brownie pan, if you're just used to winging it, when it comes to baking, I have a feeling you probably haven't timed yourself on many tasks yet. So I would consider getting a small notebook, a pen, and a timer, and just start timing yourself to see how long things tend to take. Where is their lag time? If you're going to bake a couple different things, is the oven always in use, or are you kind of like scrambling to get something ready to get it in the oven? That kind of thing. Just start taking records. A great place to start is exactly what I just mentioned, which is making sure there's no wasted time in the oven. And the way you can do that is you're just always making it so that there's something baking if the oven's not on with nothing in it. That's going to help you, I think, wrap your mind around what do I need to do before and after a product goes into the oven to get ready for the next one. So I'm not wasting any of that oven time. And we want to try to bake as much as we can with that time period without hurting the product. So there's certain things that you can stack, a number of layers, and there's other things you can't. And it also might depend on your location, the type of oven you have, your pans, or what you're baking in, that kind of thing. So you might make different decisions. We'll talk about that in another tip. But essentially, how much can you make at once without hurting the product with that one single bake time? As an example, let's say you want to bake 10 sheets of cookies. You know that the bake time is 12 minutes for the cookies. So you'll set up your work area and space so you can easily scoop and store trays all in a row that are ready to go into the oven. So, you're not scooping, you don't have to scoop right when it's time to go into the oven. You can scoop a couple at a time and have them ready to put in, right? Have them kind of on the waiting list to go in. And also we're going to need space and areas for them to cool when they come out. So you're going to create that routine, that system of where things go when things are cool or when things are hot, and having something always baking. In any open times, like if you're waiting for something to finish baking and you've already scooped everything, you can start picking up, you can start cleaning and sanitizing your area. And then sometimes, depending on what you're making, you can even start packaging the cooled products depending on how long your bake day is. We really don't want to waste a minute when we're working. This is going to reduce your time spent overall, which is great. And sometimes it can even cut it in half if you have kind of a off-the-cuff routine and you start to really hone it in. Sometimes you'll see you can make the same amount of 3-4 times the amount of product in the same amount of time that you did with that first product. And that's where having order minimums is important. You'll notice this as you start making more, because it really doesn't take that much more time to make a whole nother set if you have a good routine. Okay, now a recent example that I want to share with you is that I've been making sourdough. I have a new oven and I'm in a new home. So I had to kind of learn, and honestly, sourdough is a newer product for me. Most of my training is in cakes and cookies. So moving into bread, what I did is I ordered some special pans. So now I'm able to make 4 loaves in my oven instead of the 2 that I was doing before. Does it change the product a little bit? Sure, but that's an opportunity for me to save some time by baking more of that loaf at once. When the second timer goes off, if you've ever made sourdough, you have the lid on for a certain period of time, and then you take the lid off to do the browning to get it to be crispy and dark. So when I'm doing that, instead of waiting until the bread is completely baked and pulling it out and going to get my next set of bread, at that second, when I'm taking the lids off inside, that's when I'm going to get my next loaves, and I'm scoring them, and I am getting them ready to go, getting the parchment paper ready, all of that. So I'm never waiting for something to get done baking. I'm doing other things to prepare for the next 4 that are going to go in. So right when that last one is removed, I'm switching things around and everything goes right back in the oven. And then I keep everything on different racks so I know how long things have been cooling. And I will even start to package the bread once the third set of bread comes out, which they're in for a little bit less than an hour, and it has to sit for at least an hour. So I'm waiting for it to be cool to the touch. And if I'm baking 30 loaves, by the end of my bake session, only 6 of them are not bagged. So I've gotten everything done through the packaging and the tagging, and I just have the last 6 that need to cool. So that's how you can stack things to help with your time management when you're bulk baking. Okay. And number 2, the tip is to think about expanding your counter space, your additional space, which we'll talk about that, and your storage. I know some of us don't have opportunities to do that. Some of us maybe, right? And if you're working in a commercial space, you might need, you might be able to put something extra shelving in. You will soon find out that when you're baking in bulk, the counter space or the space to just sit things on is hard to come by. It all gets really cluttered really fast. So consider expanding your work area by getting a vertical. So something that, a table that comes like this, the one that I have, the leaves come up, and when you're not using it, you put them down, and it's just like a slender thing that you can slide wherever you need it to go. Or a horizontal collapsing table, so just like a regular folding table that you can set up, or even something like a speed rack, like a bakery rack with wheels that can hold trays with things that you're working on. I do have both of these. I have a half-size speed rack, and I have that vertical folding table. So if you want links for what I'm talking about, let me know. I can just DM them to you so you can see what the exact products I'm talking about. On top of this, you may want to look at your storage and expand that as well, depending on what you have around. If you find yourself constantly running out of things, you probably need to shop a little earlier than you are or get more than you're getting. If you feel like you're running around and grabbing items from all over the place, you either need to get that extra storage area set up, or you need to condense things into maybe one cabinet that you use for baking. That'll help you keep everything a little more straight. You can do that with a drawer too. I have one drawer that has a lot of my baking stuff in it so that I know where it is all the time. You can definitely consider investing in a special shelf that holds bulk bins. So if you need to order, get a lot of sugar or flour or whatever it is, getting good quality bulk bins, they're worth it, and some kind of shelving unit to hold them. That's going to help keep things a little more streamlined as well. And you can also keep things on there that you just normally use. So if you want to keep your whisks and your pans and your scales and your spoons and everything up there so that it's not getting mixed in, especially if you're at home, it's not getting mixed in with the other stuff. Or even if you're in a commercial space, you want to limit the amount of steps you have to take to get a thing done. That's the routine. We want to simplify routines to save your energy. So the least amount of steps, that's the kind of setup that you want to have either at home or commercial. And then number 3, this is the last tip, routinely plan ahead at least 2 weeks. And that might seem like duh, of course, or maybe you're already doing that, but bulk baking can take a pretty serious turn if you forgot to do something. Specifically like ordering something online that takes time to ship to you. Or if you went shopping and you forgot something, or you went shopping and it was the day before and then you forgot something. So all of that can really bite you if something doesn't go right. You can also start prepping items early. Like for instance, with the sourdough baking, I have to prep my starter before I even make the dough. So that's a whole other, 6 to 12 hours before that I have to think about doing something. And then before that, I have to think about going to get the bread flour and everything, and ordering the bags and all of that kind of stuff. So there's little things that have to happen. So I suggest being prepared at least 2 weeks in advance. That's going to give you time in case something needs to be fixed or you miss something. So make sure you're always pre-planning what needs to get done weeks ahead, maybe in a written calendar or a digital calendar, depending on what you use. I like to start with the due date and then I work backwards and I figure out what parts need to get done as I move back. And then I see, oh, okay, so this is the first day that I need to start looking at items. This is the day I need to be buying everything by. This is the day I need to start the starter, that kind of thing. And having a few hours in between when something is done and when something is due is always smart. So even if it's just a couple hours, if you're doing something like bread, if you're doing anything that can be frozen or refrigerated, I really suggest like 12 to 24 hours if you can, just in case. Remember to continue to keep tabs on how long things take because that can change over time. And depending on what kind of tools or where you're working or who's working with you, that can also change. So if you used to be able to do something in an hour, but then you hired someone and it takes them 3 hours, we need to work that into the routine and make sure the routine is still on par with how long things are taking. And then if you need to hire help at certain stages of a large order, when you're planning back from that due date, that's going to let you know when do I need the workers and what time and what are they going to be doing. And since you're planning 2 weeks out, you now have some time to get people on the schedule or you have some time to make those phone calls and say, hey, on Tuesday, I'm going to be doing something for my Saturday order. Can you be here that day? So that's just going to help you plan your labor as well. Okay. Melanie wants the links. All right, I'll send you some links in the DM in just a few minutes, okay? All right, so to recap, expanding your business with bulk baking can be one of the most rewarding ways to bake and make a nice income. You're going to continue to do what you love, you're going to be working really fast and efficiently, and you're going to make more money because you're making more use of that time. You'll likely need to shape up your routines and use every minute during the bake session to work on things related to the business. So no oven time is wasted, that's a big one. And by the end of the bake session, you have most of the cleaning already done. That can be really helpful because when we're done baking and it's hot in the kitchen, we kind of just want to stop. Totally get it. But if your kitchen is a disaster, you still have to clean it. So if you can just kind of do some of that along the way, that'll help with your preparation and your packaging later and everything that you're going to need to clean up for anyway. So that's a good way to do it. You will likely need to invest in some expansion storage, some racks or some extra counter space like the foldable tables or a whole nother counter or, a prep table or something like that. So you can make more and more product because if you're working with a space that's already kind of small or already taken up by other things, we need to expand. You'll need area to create. So think about that. Places for cool items, places for hot items, but also places to store items when they're completed. Because a lot of what we make can't be stacked that well. So we need to just make sure that they have places to live once they're done. Planning 2 weeks in advance, that's a really good thing to start doing, or longer if you tend to order specialty items online that may or may not be delivered, within that time period. So even having some extra stuff in stock that you've pre-ordered just in case, that can be difficult if it's pricey. So I wouldn't always suggest that, but you can consider that depending on what it is you sell. So we just need those 2 weeks to prep and to plan every step of that bulk baking. Start with the due date, go backwards and fit in all the times that you need. It's going to give you a window into the days leading up to the final product as well. So let's say, that whole week is planned out for your personal life and for everything going on. You'll be able to see once everything is laid out, oh, okay, Tuesday's like my lightest day. So that's the day that I could go to the store, or that's the day I could take my kid to the park or whatever. So once you lay everything out, then you'll be able to better plan your normal life. And then also needing that additional help or hiring or bringing people into the shop to do what you need to do. That's going to help with that. Bulk baking is often a necessary skill to have if you want to service the wedding industry, which is something I mentioned at the beginning, specifically because wedding guest counts can usually be around 200 or more. 50 to 100 is like a very small wedding, a very intimate wedding. 200 to 500 is basically our normal American wedding. That's kind of where they're sitting most times. Since COVID, it might be a little smaller these days and because of inflation, but usually 200-ish is about where people are at. If you want to learn all about landing sales and clients in the wedding industry, either you're already in the industry and you want just some information, or if you're considering it but you aren't sure if it's for you, even for people who don't sell cake, I promise there is space for you. There's lots of alternative weddings right now. You can catch the replay of our session that happened live on Tuesday. So you can't come live anymore. That one's already passed, but I am putting together a Q2 replay bundles. There's going to be 3 workshops included. Right now, 2 of them have already happened. So you're going to get the pop-up and market workshop replay, which is wonderful. Which is also bulk baking related. And you're going to get the wedding sales replay, which is what we talked about on Tuesday. And then you're going to get an invite to the live session of our final Q2, which is all about hosting baking and design classes, which is one of my favorite things to do. It's what I do a lot of here. So I'd love to give you as much information as possible so you can get started with that right away. So you can head over to the website to grab it if you would like. That's at www.buildabetterbakerynow.com/workshops. I can send you the link directly as well if you need it. Let me know. I hope this has been helpful for you today. Bulk baking is a larger topic, of course, but this month is all about helping beginners understand and feel comfortable with concepts. So if you have any other questions about bulk baking, go ahead and put them down here in the comments. Or if you want to set up your free 20-minute mentorship call, if you haven't used that yet, everyone gets one here in the group and in the community, even on YouTube. You'll just go to the website and you'll see the 20-minute session. You can sign up there. If you've already used your 20-minute session, I have other mentorship calls too. They are paid. You can pick which one makes sense for you. You can set that up. Or if you just want to talk about services and resources that build a better bakery, those calls are free. They're 20 minutes too. So we can just talk about if you want some mentorship or coaching, I can fill you in on what we have. That's all for May's expansion ideas. We did every week this month. Simplified it for beginners, and they're up in the featured videos or just in the catalog on YouTube, so you'll see them there. You can definitely check out the ones that were more even closer to beginners than this one. So you can go back and see ones that are a little more simplified. I will be posting the June session soon, probably in the next few days. So make sure to send me a friend request on Facebook if you do want that auto invitation sent to you on the platform. We have to be friends for you to get that. Otherwise, you can just check the events section. They'll be up probably in about a week or so. I haven't chosen the theme yet, but they will be themed as well. We'll have a theme for June. I hope you all will have the best day. For here, the weather's already getting hot, but the garden's growing, the bees are out, the birds are out. Things are going well here. So I hope everyone else is feeling good. And just let me know if you need anything. Definitely let me know if you want to come to the upcoming hosting the classes workshop. That's up on the website. But if you have questions, you can always send me a direct message or post in the group about it if you want more information. Inside the Elite Mentorship Program, we do coaching every week. So if you're looking to just talk to me or talk to a mentor and get some input or some feedback or some ideas or brainstorm with me or have me help you plan something, that's what it's all about. And I'm in there every week for an hour. So you can come in even every week and get that time with me so we can do one-on-one regular basis check-ins. I would love that. And I definitely invite you to come in as an elite. All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to head out for the day. And I hope you just have a great day and stay safe out there. And I will see you in June. Okay, bye.